There are people whose very presence changes a room. They don't need to speak. They don't need to teach. They don't even need to be holding a book. Their very being carries a certain weight, a dignity you can't quite explain, but you can definitely sense it. And the Torah in this week's Parsha tells us exactly who that person is. Mipnei seva tokum. You are to stand up before a zaken, says the Torah. But what is a zaken, before whom we are to rise? Our sages explain that a zaken is shorthand for zeh shekana chochma, someone who has acquired wisdom. Now note, this is not the usual description of a Talmud Chacham, a Torah scholar. It's not someone who occasionally studies, or even constantly studies. Rather, it's someone who has taken the Torah and made it part of who they are. And here's the fascinating part. The mitzvah to stand applies even when this person is doing something completely ordinary, walking down the street, carrying groceries, tying their shoes. At that moment, they look just like everybody else. They look just like me and you. They're not giving a lecture. They're not learning. They're not teaching. They're not doing anything that looks holy. So why must we rise before them? What makes them different? The answer lies in that one word, shekona, who has acquired. A person who has acquired Torah hasn't just studied it. They've absorbed it so deeply that it becomes part of their identity. Their Torah is not in a book. It's not on a shelf. It's not in a class. It's in their mind. It's in their heart. It's in their memory. It travels with them. It shapes them, even when they're not consciously thinking about it. It becomes part of their very presence. And that only happens through learning it by heart. Not reading, not reviewing, not even through understanding. It's specifically by memorizing it that we own it. Learning by heart is in a category of itself. A way of turning Torah from something you study into something you are. There's a powerful story that brings this to life. During the previous Rebbe's first imprisonment by the Soviets, when he was just a young boy walking home from school, they put him in a cell. It was a time of darkness, fear, and total isolation for him. The guards confiscated everything. No Siddur, no Chumash, no Mishnah, nothing. The officer that imprisoned him was making it a point to show him a lesson. But they didn't understand who they were dealing with. The Frierdiker Rebbe describes how in that cold, silent cell, he realized that he only had one thing, his memorized studies. So he reviewed entire chapters of Torah, all from memory. He said that the Torah he knew by heart became his strength, his comfort, his oxygen. They took away his books, but they could not take away his Torah. The Torah he had memorized was with him in the darkest cell, because it lived inside him. That is what it means to acquire Torah. That is Torah that cannot be taken away from you. There's a famous tradition about the Shagas Aryeh, the legendary 18th century genius whose mastery of the entire Talmud was beyond anything we can imagine. When he traveled on behalf of Jewish communities, the journeys were so long and difficult. Someone once asked him how he passed the time on those exhausting trips. And he answered as follows. On the way there, I learned half the Talmud. And on the way back, I learned the other half. He wasn't boasting. He wasn't exaggerating. He was describing a reality. He had the entire Talmud memorized. He didn't need an actual book. He didn't need a table. He didn't even need quiet. His Torah was inside him. He carried it with him wherever he went. That is what the Torah means when it says to rise before a zaken. Not someone who holds a Torah, but someone held by Torah. Someone who doesn't just learn Torah, they become Torah. And I think that this mitzvah isn't only about honoring others. It's also about inspiring ourselves. I believe it's about asking ourselves, how do we begin to acquire Torah? How do we begin to carry Torah with us wherever we go? And the answer is simple. Start memorizing. Start small. Start with something foundational. If you don't yet know the Shema in Hebrew by heart, study it. If you don't yet know the Shema in Hebrew by heart, learn it. Engrave it into your memory so it becomes part of who you are wherever you go. And if you already know the Shema, then I think that this week's Parsha, Parshas Kedoshim, offers a beautiful opportunity. Try memorizing the first few verses, the first few psukim. Carry them with you. Let them echo in your mind throughout the day. Because the moment you memorize even a single line of Torah, you never walk alone. Torah walks with you. And who knows? Maybe that one verse you memorized this week will be the one that gives you strength when you need it most. Maybe it will be the one that reminds you who you are. Maybe it will be the beginning of acquiring Torah in a way that changes your life. I wish you a beautiful Shabbos, an uplifting Shabbos, a meaningful Shabbos, a Shabbos filled with Torah that doesn't just sit on a shelf, but Torah that lives inside you.